Hi, and welcome back to Focal Point AAFR Talk. Great to have you in the mix, in the conversation today. I want to begin by talking, follow up on what we talked about yesterday, and then I've also got a Focal Point update for you I want to get to. Now, again, I don't pretend to be an expert on the tax code. We talked about Mitt Romney's true tax rate yesterday, and so I went and did a little bit of research yesterday on Mitt Romney's true tax rate. Now, remember, he is taxed on his initial income at 35%. Then he takes whatever's left after he's already been dinged 35% for the income he makes, and this is coming from a corporation which has already also been dinged for corporate taxes. So what comes back to him has already been taxed once. He gets what's left over from the corporation. He gets taxed on it a second time, and if there's anything left over after that, then he puts it in some sort of investment. Now, that investment returns some kind of dividend income, and then he gets taxed on that again. So when his dividend income gets taxed, it's the third time that the income that we're talking about has been taxed, first at the corporate level, second at the personal level, and Romney declares it on his own taxes, and third when he pays taxes on his dividend income. Now, there is a blog called the Tax Prof Blog, and this is a guy that is a specialist. He's an economist who specializes in the tax code and the tax burden that Americans pay. And he computes that Mitt Romney's true tax rates, when you add all these taxes up, the double taxation of investment income, his true tax rate is 44.75%, because he says our tax code layers taxation of dividends and capital gains on top of a top corporate rate of 35%. So you got this double taxation. And so anyway, I can't even follow all of his reasoning here. I'm just saying he knows more about this than I do, and he certainly knows more about all this than anybody in our listening audience. And he says that Mitt Romney's true tax rate is 44.75%. So that is the figure that we are going to go with based on the Tax Prof blog. Now, this is an interesting snapshot into our culture. This is kind of amazing to me. You know what the big story was in New York from the first day of this week, from Monday? I mean, this was a big story in New York. They couldn't talk about this enough. This was a feature story. This was a lead story that on Monday, nobody in the city of New York was shot, stabbed, or slashed. And that was the lead story in the New York Daily News. Not a single person was reported shot, stabbed, or slashed in New York City on Monday. Talked us to the deputy commissioner who couldn't remember the last time a day ended with 3 zeros, going clear back to 1990. Now, here's the thing I wanted to get to. Well, before I do that, let me talk about the Carnival Cruise. You're probably familiar with Carnival Cruise ships. And this is going to be an interesting deal how this shakes out. Because what happened, these transvestites, that are these guys that like to dress up and pretend they're women, wear women's clothes, transgenders, transvestites, crossdressers, they decided they were going to have a cruise. Everybody's going to go on this cruise. And so all these crossdressers were going to go on this cruise. They got about 1,000 of them that are a part of this cruise. I forget what the thing is called. See if I can find the name of that cruise. It might be in another story that I didn't keep. Yeah, I can't see the name of the cruise in this story, but it was for cross-dressers. And they were going to send 1,000. They had 1,000 people sign up to go on this Carnival Cruise. It's going to leave on December 2nd, Sunday, December 2nd. So they got 1,000 cross-dressers sign up for this thing. Now, a cruise ship holds way more than 1,000 people. So you're going to have a lot of families on this same cruise ship. And Carnival said to these transvestites, look, you can't dress in drag during this cruise. We have families here. They're going to be offended by this. We want the atmosphere on our cruise ships to be family friendly. We're going to have some rooms that are going to be reserved for you. You're going to have performers. We're going to let those performers dress in drag, but you can't dress in drag. You can't dress in drag even in that theater we're going to reserve for you, because you have to put your dress and high heels and earrings on in your stateroom and then walk down to the theater room, and these families are going to see you, and these families are going to be weirded out. Parents are going to be creeped out. Kids are going to be creeped out. Kids are going to have questions that parents don't want to have to answer on vacation. And so Carnival Cruise said you cannot cross-dress on this cruise. Well, that outraged the gay activists, and they raised such a stink that Carnival Cruise is backed completely off of that, and they've said, we don't care if our cruise line is now family-friendly. You want to cross-dress, you want to be exhibitionist, you want to freak out every family and every young child that's on this cruise ship, we don't care. We surrender. We bow to your eminence. We bow to your bullying. You are bully bigots. You are heterophobic bullies and bigots, and you have intimidated us into going along with your program. So it's going to be interesting to see how all of this works out. Obviously, Carnival concerned about the impact on families, concerned about the environment for the children that are part of these cruises. And the Carnival has promised that they are going to give a full refund to any family that wants it. And here's hoping there are just an absolute ton of families that get a refund. I wouldn't be surprised to see a lawsuit come out of this. You know, where there's a family. In fact, I predict it'll happen. You have a family that'll go on this cruise ship. They've been promised by Carnival, look, our cruise ships are family friendly. This is safe for your kids. You can bring kids of all ages, and this will be an absolutely tame environment for them. You won't have to worry about a thing. You can play shuffleboard. You can go bowling. You can eat all the food you want. You can swim in our on-deck swimming pool, and you'll never have to worry about being confronted with something that you find offensive. And so there are going to be families that go on this cruise ship. They don't know anything about this deal. They have no idea that they're going to be cross-dressers on this ship. And here, Carnival Cruise Lines has given these transvestites carte blanche to dress any way they want, anytime they want, as much as they want, anywhere they want, without showing any sort of respect or deference for either the cruise lines or for families. I wouldn't be surprised to see some families sue the pants off of Carnival Cruise Lines. You promised us, you told us it's right here in writing. Look here, family friendly. It's right here in the brochure. It's right here in the literature. It's right here in the information you sent us about this cruise. And then we get on board the ship and we're totally freaked out by what these 1,000 people are wearing. We can't get away from them. We're going to sue you for violating the promise to make this a family-friendly cruise. Now, what did I do with that story that had to do with Focal Point and with yours truly? What did I do with that? I got so wrapped up on this. Oh, yeah, here it is right on top, right where I left it. You know, the things that are done here and said here get a lot of play on gay-friendly blogs. In fact, Right Wing Watch Today, which monitors this program. Hi, guys. Good to have you in the listening audience today on board the USS Focal Point. This is a family-friendly cruise that you're on right now. This patrol boat is family-friendly. Welcome aboard. Glad to have you. So Right Wing Watch a lot of times will pick up on the things that I say, and they'll put a little snippet up on YouTube, and then they'll write a blog about it and get people to go. And, you know, it's interesting to me. I look at the clips that they post, and it's odd to me. I have no idea why they pick the sound bites that they do, because they help me. I mean, a lot of times I'll look at what Right Wing Watch picks and puts up on their website and say, you know, if I was going to pick an excerpt from that segment, that's exactly the one I would have chosen. If Right Wing Watch came to me and said, look, you can have your pick of any segment, any portion of any segment that you want, and post it on our website, I would pick exactly the same ones that they picked. Like yesterday, for instance, they picked the little monologue I did about the homosexual talk show host, Michael Signorile, who advised a homosexual to commit suicide because he voted for Romney. He says, just go out and get some arsenic at the grocery store and just kill yourself. And so, you know what I said? Look, that's the death penalty. He wants this guy to carry out the death penalty on himself. I don't want homosexuals put to death. I want them helped. Well, that's exactly the soundbite that Right Wing Watch ran. So all the bloggers have been out there saying, oh, he supports that Uganda kill the gays bill. He wants to kill gays. He wants the death penalty for homosexuals. Complete distortion. Absolutely not true. I do not support the death penalty for homosexuals. And who helped me get the word out to all of my friends in the homosexual community? It was Right Wing Watch, because they put it on their website. Said, hey, look, everybody come and look at this excerpt. And it's very clearly, I say directly in there, very pointedly, I do not support the death penalty for homosexuals. But Michael Signorelli does, as long as it's self-imposed. He wants homosexuals to go out there and kill themselves, carry out the death penalty on themselves. So it's interesting to me. I guess they think in some way they're hurting me, but all they're doing is helping to amplify my message. Now that brings me to this blog from a place called The Bedkeeper Book. It's a blog that is hosted by this guy named Bryan Anthony Bowen. I don't know who he is, but he has an appeal this morning to liberal bloggers, to homosexual bloggers. He says, we know as a community there are many folks in the world who make their living off hating the LGBTQIQ community. I have no idea what that means. It used to be LGBT, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender. Now it's QIQ. I don't even know what that means. I assume Q is queer. The first one is probably queer. The I is probably investigating or something like that, and I have no idea what the last Q would stand for, but now we are up to, 7 letters in this acronym. Anyway, as they do, many folks in the gay media have found that reporting on such hateful rhetoric is a good way to drive traffic to their blogs, and in doing so, add to the chaos that many of our LGBTQIQ youth must encounter. I write today to attest to the fact that I have seen dramatic improvements. Gone are the days that every blogger on Twitter published copy and paste versions of each other's articles. Gone are the days that every word uttered by Tony Perkins was their biggest draw. I don't mean to complain, but the words that continue to draw most bloggers' attentions are those of Brian J. Fisher. As they have, we see Mr. Fisher's vitriol has only grown more intense, not less. Yeah, that part about me wanting to help homosexuals and not kill them, man, that is some serious vitriol there. How can you stand the hatred, ladies and gentlemen? Today, if there was only one thing I could ask for gay media outlets to improve on, it is to boycott anything that man ever says again. And I want to say, bring it on. This is a boycott I support 100%. Back in 2, Focal Point AFR Talk.